Hey YouTube, this is Prepper1, and this is a boots on the ground, but it's only going to cover one comment I got, one email, because I think it's very important. So let's get right into it. This guy goes through, I've talked to him on the phone before, but he's reiterated what he's done for his lifetime. But let me get right into it. And he says this. One of them that you touched on in your video, this is about the extreme fragile grid system and infrastructure in general. And he said, yes, the bad guys know all this stuff, but some do not care about the dire consequences of our grid going down. What kind of consequences? Allow me to elaborate. We have over 104 nuclear power plants, cores, and research facilities in the U.S. alone, some having multiple units per location, with many having spent fuel storage on site. The spent fuel pools are where you cycle the fuel bundles out of the reactor core after they've been mostly used, but are still extremely hot, as in radioactivity hot. These pools are cooled by circulating cooling fluid and submerged to keep them from overheating and going supercritical. Unknown to most of the public, these nuclear power plants rely on the grid for electricity to function and to keep things running, including the cooling pumps and processing in general. In the event of a disaster, hurricane, earthquake, fire, the reactors can be scrammed, whereas the plant operators lowers the control rods, mostly graphite, in between the fuel rod bundles, which basically throttles down the power output until the outside electrical power is restored, and then the plant can be checked and brought back online. Here's the kicker. Remember I said the plant needs outside electricity to continue functioning, and that's well known. I even know that. But when the plant cannot be brought back online to whatever reason, they also have large on-site diesel train engine-sized generators that had approximately 30 days of on-site fuel storage dedicated to their use. If the generator fails, like at Fukushima, then the pump stops circulating cooling fluid, and the temperature in the reactor and spent fuel pools quickly rises and climbs out of control. Spent fuel pools have no control rods to help slow down the fission reaction, and the cooling liquid quickly boils off. It only takes about 72 hours. Once they are exposed to air, they go supercritical and begins to melt down. We have bigger fuel or spent fuel pools and more reactors in Japan, and guess what happens when they take our whole grid down? Can you say Fukushima times 1,000? This issue has been brought before Congress on multiple occasions, but no real change has taken place. This is all documented and publicly available information with a quick internet research. And he gives a bunch of documentation, a lot of government stuff here. The only reason we have not been EMP'd or nuked is because once these plants all melt down and radioactive pushes eastward via the jet stream across the Atlantic and right into Europe and China, basically game over for everyone. That is not to say that some country or government doesn't care and wants to reduce the population on the planet by billions. So now you know why I don't comment publicly on lots of things, because people simply cannot handle the horrible truth. That being said, William Wallace said it best: all men die, but not all men truly live. And goes on some more personal stuff. But so what he's thinking, if we get EMP'd, it's going to take the power grid down. Without power to safely control the nuclear reactors and shutting them carefully and slowly, you're going to have a problem. And I know that for a fact. I know a guy that worked for him. He's actually overseas working for a foreign country doing nuclear power plants. So without grid power, nuclear reactors are going to have a hard time shutting down. They'll have to rely on electricity generated at that particular plant to bring everything down and control it safely. So EMP, power grid going down, it's dangerous. That's for sure. We have all these nuclear reactors, so I appreciate him giving me more insight. So maybe China or Russia won't use an EMP attack against us because they know bad things would happen. Or somebody might not care and are willing to accept the risk of that nuclear contamination crossing the ocean and getting to them. They might accept that as just a risk of war. But there's a lot of third parties out there, be it Iran, be it Korea, that would not really worry about that big risk and would definitely use an EMP against us. So I'm getting a lot of information, and I appreciate the information coming in from people that are in the know, or in the know in that industry. They're the professionals in that industry, so I appreciate it. I will keep you informed. The information coming into me, I give out to you as much as I can, because you guys make this possible. Thanks for watching.